Good morning, everybody. So yeah, this is an interesting case. I randomly caught this van driver on his phone, and it was full on phone to the ear driving on my way to work, and reported it. And surprise, surprise, he was summoned to court, and we duly attended Ealing Magistrates Court last week. Yeah, it's quite an interesting interaction in that he got so rude and so aggressive. Yeah, it's not often that I get stung a little bit. So yeah, I was a little bit irritated. You can hear that in my response. So I just kind of took the piss out of him back and went on my way and didn't think about it. So anyway, we come to Ealing Magistrates Court, and I turn up and speak to the prosecutor. Interestingly, the prosecutor was South African and retired and works here like 6 months of the year to avoid the South African winter. I was surprised at how very respected he was amongst all the court staff. They apparently really like the guy. I'm not surprised having met him now. Anyway, so I introduced myself. I just explained that I've done this quite a lot and I didn't need any guiding around the courtroom or anything. And then went out to wait, and I didn't bother going into the witness room as there was no witness support around. And probably the most interesting part about the court appearance for me was that I sat next to two police officers who, shout out to you guys, you were really cool. The one was quite a super petrol head and really liked his cars, and also really was into road safety. Yeah, he felt like maybe speaking to a nephew of mine or something. He was really a big believer in road safety and hitting all the road safety things and the research that he could to make his area better. And he was also, both of them were also there for a court case of another driver who they caught on the phone. So anyway, it was quite interesting. So then, yes, the defendant in my case turned up about 40 minutes late at 10:40. Didn't really speak to me in the witness area. I'm not too bothered about sharing the the waiting area with people. Generally, they are not people to worry about. That turned out to be quite different in this case, maybe. So yeah, he got called into court to start his case after quite a wait. And then like 10 or 15 minutes later, the prosecutor came out and said he's changed his plea to guilty, so I could go home. But of course, I don't generally want to go home from court because I'm interested in the results and I'm interested in the story to tell you guys about. So I asked to come in, and I came in and witnessed the sentencing and all that business that comes after a guilty plea. So when I came in, the first thing that happened is the prosecutor asked for full court costs of £420, although there would be credit for an early guilty plea. Well, about as late early as you could make a guilty plea. And then he said that he wanted to show their worships, the magistrates, the attitude of the defendants, and the defendant and play the last bit of the video that you'll see shortly. The defendant was really not happy about having this video played, as you'll see why shortly when I play this. And yeah, he was, interestingly, I didn't find that the defendant was speaking very clearly. He spoke much more clearly to me when I met him in person on the road with his phone driving. I'm not sure what that's about. I found it quite hard to understand him in court. The magistrates went away and came back quite quickly with a decision of a £54 fine, £22 victim surcharge. That goes to Victim Support Services, by the way. It doesn't go to me or anything like that. And £200 costs, which is higher than I would have expected for someone who said he was on universal credit. And then, yeah, the defendant was glaring daggers at me throughout this. Not surprising, I suppose. He's been caught doing wrong. And he then tried to argue for fewer points or something like that with the magistrates and explained that he had quite an extensive prison record, and that yeah, it would make it hard for him to find work, and that he'd been clean for 5 years and living well, which I respect. Good to him for doing that. But on the other hand, the magistrate shut him down quite quickly, the lead magistrate, and said, look, you've committed this offence, and that's the end of it. And then he left the courtroom and kind of like muttering something at me that sounded angry. I don't know what he said. Anyway, then they all made me stay in the court so that I wouldn't go out there whilst he was still angry. I wouldn't have gone directly. I normally will wait a few minutes. You know, just let people cool down a bit. Nobody likes being caught out having done wrong. Though that said, this defendant's reaction was a bit more over the top. So yeah, I was... I mean, I wasn't taking it nearly as seriously as the court staff were, but I was a little bit concerned, particularly given the prison history comments that the defendant made in court, and that was while the bench was sitting, and that's important because it's protected speech then. So yeah, then I went, after a while I went outside the court. I'd listened to some other random case that was being heard. It wasn't really that interesting to me. And oh, by the way, and then while I was still waiting in court, a young man came in. I was really quite impressed with him. He was super polite, and he had been charged with failing to comply. Sorry, no, with riding a motorcycle with either no CBT or the wrong CBT. And it turned out the police had made a mistake. And this young man was so nice and so polite to the magistrates, they dismissed his case in short order because, yeah, the police had made a mistake, or somebody had made a mistake in this instance. So shout out to you as well. I was really impressed with how you conducted yourself in court. Anyway, so then I went out into the waiting area, and the court security staff pulled me aside and said, like, no, you can't go. So they wanted me to go wait in the witness room. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll wait here. And so I just stuck around for a while until there was almost no chance that my defendant was still waiting for me. And then I left. And that's also why I didn't do this talk outside the courtroom, because I figured on the very small chance he might be waiting around, that's not a wise thing to do. And I mean, there's no need to confront the guy. It would probably make for exciting and good views for you guys, but it has no real benefit for me. And it's an unnecessary and unwanted confrontation. So yeah, I left court, and that was it pretty much. Yeah, interesting case. Enjoy watching the video. I hope you see what he did, and it's pretty easy to catch him, really. Okay, have a great end of the week, and see you later. Bye. On the phone talking. I mean, you know, there's no business of being stopped for any of that shite from that man. SC68HPX, I believe it was.
Alright, have a nice day, yeah?
Don't be driving on the phone, mate. I'm going to be reporting you to the police.
Your wife's getting by another man, bastard.
So you're going to have 14 days to wait for a letter to see if they decide to prosecute.
Mother, man, you white I'll spit in your face, man.
Yeah, then I'll report you for assault too, and I'll keep it with
from a black man.
Is that the best you can do?
Yes, that's the best. Your mum's taking.
You behave like a 4-year-old, mate.
Don't suck your mother, you white bastard.
Stay off your phone. Dear oh dear, what a child you are. Bye. Dear oh dear. Well, I knew there was going to be some kind of repercussions. He just looked like that kind of person from the way he was moving and talking to his mates on the phone. I don't know, you can't always predict people's behavior from their body language.